Well, I think we can start because it's already...
Can we start?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Q4 FY22 earnings conference call of YashPakka Limited. I would like to welcome Mr. Ved Krishna, Vice Chairman, Mr. Jagdeep Hira, Managing Director, Mr. Jignesh Shah, CFO, Mr. Satish, Business Head, Compostable Division, and Mr. Sagar, Head Innovation. Now, I would like to hand over to the management of YashPakka for their introductory remarks. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the investors call of Q4 of financial year 2022. We would now begin the presentation. The team would take questions after the presentation. If you have questions, request you to please let us know by pressing the hand raise button or through chat box. It's also a sincere request to everyone to be on mute for the duration of presentation. Now I would like to invite Mr. Ved Krishna, our Vice Chairman, to begin the session.
A very good morning to all of you, and once again, welcome to our presentation for the year ending and this quarter. And we're again very happy to have you all here, and very happy to be able to interact and learn from you, and try and also at least provide you the progress report on how we are focusing and building towards our vision, which again, to reiterate, is basically to produce regenerated packaging solutions and contribute towards a cleaner planet. That is the fundamental idea that keeps our team going, and we are continuously investing in that domain. We can go ahead, Jignesh.
Can you see the screen, sir?
Yes, absolutely. So this is the goal we've been talking about. It's a very big, ambitious goal, and but what we realize as a company is that we can really make an impact only if we build scale, and that is absolutely essential for our future. Otherwise, it's just going to be a lot of good social media noise, but we will not be able to create the difference we want to. Jignesh, you might have to mute. I think there is some sound around you. Yeah, great. Please, let's go ahead. So, of course, it's very easy to say moving from, say, 300 crores today to 2,500 crores in the next 4 to 5 years. And but of course, how are we going to do that is the big question. So there are a certain number of things that we've been planning, and as we keep talking to you every quarter, we'll keep providing you the developments as they happen. But fundamentally, we are focused on few areas. The first is creating more and more bagasse market pulp, taking that, converting it through job work to molded food service ware, and which is where our business head Satish is leading it, and he's on the call as well in case you want to talk about that. The big focus where we have developed a certain solution, we've actually even displayed it in the recent PaperX. And it's a big achievement by our innovations team. It has taken almost 10 years of development, which is to build flexible packaging solutions which are compostable, which is basically things like potato chip bags, etc. Really investing towards that and building a bigger capacity for that. The other innovation which we've again just sort of launched is a mineral-based compostable carry bag, which is using waste minerals and bioplastics. And I'm happy to talk more about it when we get questions. So this is the broad roadmap that we are working towards. There may be a little difference here or there, but more or less this year we are looking to invest little more than 200 crores now. As the project is evolving, it will be a little higher, but in total it will be in that range of about 500 crores kind of investment. That will lead to a much higher turnover, as we are showcasing here. The project should get implemented sometime in 2023, and it would lead to over a 700 crore turnover and 150 crore PBT. This again, we are further looking at investing in another site, which also work has started. And once that comes into play, then we will move towards that figure which we are all targeting internally of 2,500 crores turnover and 400 crores PBT. This is the focus market that we are looking at. I'm also going to talk about the kind of products that we are developing. I've mentioned it a little bit in the 2 slides before, but as you can see, it's a huge market and it's changing fast. We know that the world needs sustainable products. There is a huge traction that we are seeing in the markets. Literally, there is no big FMCG company that we are not talking to today. Literally, everybody is coming, talking to us, visiting our site, talking to us in our US operations. So we are clearly seeing a lot of focus towards sustainability coming forth. These are the broad solutions that we talked about before, but just reiterating, these are the 3 areas we focus on: food packaging, food carry, and food service products through these 3 product ranges. And that's singular focus, at least for the next 5 to 6 years. One of the greatest achievements of ours in the last year has been to build a very, very solid core team. And, some of us are here, Jagdeep, who is leading from the front in the pulp and paper business. Satish, who has come in and is providing a lot of energy to the compostables business, and I'm sure you'll start seeing a big change there. Sagar is also on the call, and he's leading the whole innovations business, which is to build new products. Jignesh Bhai, you already know. Himanshu, again, is here, I think, on the call, and he's leading our investments in terms of new areas that we are looking at. We have Vig. We have just launched a technology platform. I would encourage you all to look at gcaimpact.com and gcahub.com, which is basically to collaborate and solutionize in the space of compostable packaging. That's also a subsidiary of Pakka. It's been formed in Singapore. It's called Pakka PTE. And then there is Susan, who is helping us build our team, because in order to really have this growth, this is the only way we will be able to do it. Let's go ahead. So these are the key actions that we are focusing on in 2022 and 23 as we go along. We are investing heavily in the Ayodhya plant. It is a project that will be of significant size as we are going along. We are just sort of finalizing the basic engineering now, and we will start ordering of the equipment. This did get delayed literally by almost, I would say, 2 years, mostly thanks to the COVID issues and not being able to visit the technology suppliers, which was really important for us. But that is opening now, and hopefully we will get to visit all the technology suppliers, and we are definitely hoping that within this quarter, we will be able to raise the finance and move ahead with this project. The other one is to identify a new site. That is a job that has been given to me by the team. And I've started looking at numerous regions across the world, wherever bagasse is available. It is not just in India. And we are zeroing in on a site, and I'm hoping that within the next 6 months, we will be able to announce the next site as well. As I mentioned, Sagar has been working hard with his team to finalize the structure for the new products in the food packaging and food carry spaces that we are going to be. We have done a beta launch. We are going to be launching at scale within this year. And of course, the next part, which will enable a lot of inorganic growth, is that of strategic production partnerships. So what we are working on, and Satish has been working hard on that, is to find the right partners where we can supply pulp and get job work done for the products which are in the molded space, and we see a big growth there as well. So I'll hand over to Jagdeep now, and he can take you through the performance in the last few quarters. Jagdish Bhai, you can continue the presentation.
Good morning all, and welcome to the presentation. So I will start with the performance for the last year, along with some achievements in the last quarter as well. So if we talk of overall productivity We achieved around 48% higher productivity levels than the previous year, which includes pulp and paper 2%, and revenue of course this out. Revenue has been the highest ever till now, so it's almost touching 300 CR, so which is 296 CR vis-a-vis 261 in the previous year. So on PBT front, we did around 56 CR of PBT against 39.54 of last year, which is almost 130% higher than last year, and 53 on the top line, 53% higher on the top line. So we have made some benchmarks for us as well during the year. So production has been ever highest, which is 39,139 on the pulp and paper front, which is around 2%. So along with it, overall productivity level has gone up by 48%, comprising whole of the product range. So around 36% in molded we have achieved, higher than the previous year. On pulp, we achieved around 20% higher than the previous year. So again, for PM2 specifically, we have again broken 3 records within last quarter only. So now the productivity has gone up to 969, almost 970 tons on a monthly basis. And export has been a great achievement by the team, which is 26% this year. The figures vis-a-vis FY19, which was 6976 metric tons. We did around 10,000 tons of exports, so which was around 26% higher than FY19. So on environmental front also, the team has been drastically improving the norms and reducing down the natural resources. The absolute reduction was around 1500 meter cube, which is 1500 KL as well on a daily basis, pouring out to 34 meter cube per ton. So it's among one of the top best in the industry. On the numbers, financial numbers, if we talk of the pulp and paper industry as such, so this comprises of pulp and paper along with the molding. EBITDA has been highest from 26%. PBT again remains highest across industry, 19%. Export around 26%. So we talked of production on paper side, which was higher by 2% than the previous year. So pulp, it was again higher by around 20% of FY 2021. So molded products, again the production was ramped up, and we have achieved around 36% from the previous year. But we are strongly working on improving the efficiency levels of the molded product. And happy to share, there have been lot many questions and deliberation in the past investor presentation that where we are and what we want to do. So molding is achieving good marks in the previous quarter as well. So this was it. I'll leave to Dinesh to further give the presentation. Thank you, and we will take the questions post this. Yes, sir. Dinesh, you are mute. Dinesh, you are mute.
Is it okay now? Audible? Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this year we have been good morning everyone, and this year we have been able to achieve some of the things that we were talking in last couple of calls. So I would like to start with first thing that we have been approved the NCLT merger of YashPakka into Yash Compostables. So that process has completed, Now the share exchange formalities are being carried out, but the financial implication has been taken into account this year. So the figures that we'll present or has been presented in this year and for the quarter includes the numbers which has come from Yash Compostables Limited. So the entire business and the team, everyone has now aligned, working together, and that gives a lot of boost and spirit to the team as such. The other thing which we have been talking in last couple of calls, or maybe even earlier calls as well, was the promoters pledge release. So we are happy to announce that our lead banker, State Bank of India, has approved the release of pledge of the promoters. The entire pledge has been approved to be released. The formalities are going on with the security trustees, and then the demat accounts for release of this pledge. We are hopeful to get these things done in a couple of weeks. So I'm really happy to announce this. We have established an innovation center in Bangalore for our innovations on the paper side, as explained by Vedji. Sagar is the one who takes care of the innovation businesses for the company and the group. Later during the call, when the question comes, Sagar would also like to explain something more on the topic. One important milestone is we have approved a team stock option plan. Was approved by the shareholders beginning of the month. This would also add a lot of confidence building in the team. The team would be more aligned, and the business would, this would help the business to grow further. These are the financial numbers of the standalone audited figures of YashPakka. So as I explained earlier, these numbers include the numbers coming from Yash Compostables Limited and YashPakka standalone. The profit for the entire year has gone up to 53.69 crore profit before tax, and profit after tax to 38.20 crore. So if you compare it to the previous year, of course, was a COVID-driven period. But even if I compare it to the year before, in terms of the total sales and in terms of the profit before tax, the figures are 40% higher for the year. The sales numbers are 20 to 25% higher, but the profit before tax numbers are almost 35 to 40% higher. For the quarter, of course, we have some reduction in the numbers as compared to the previous quarter. This mainly comes from the figures, the losses which we absorbed from Yash Compostables Limited, and also to a certain extent the losses which are the one-time effect of some fixed assets write-offs. So all in all, the year was really good. We have been able to achieve what we had targeted. So we are really happy about the results, and the way we are growing, we would be definitely taking it further. These are the consolidated financial results. So again, a figure slightly lower than the previous slide, because here the expenses which are from the US entity Pakka Incorporated, which is a 100% subsidiary of YashPakka, comes into play. So the figures is slightly lower as compared to the standalone results. The revenue in the US entity would start flowing from the next year, so we would be able to see a better consolidated financial results from the coming years. The rest of the things remain same. Just one more thing is we had during the consolidation process, we had accounted for a goodwill of around 4 CR, which is part of the notes which we have presented in the financial results. That's it from my side, from the results. We'll be now happy to take questions from all of you.
So I'll go one by one in the order of questions, in the order of notifications received. Mr. Manish, you have a question. You may unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to Ved in US. Just going forward, And have we been able to pass it through to our end customer? And secondly, on the borrowing side, do see some increased borrowings. What is it that we'll look at it going forward? Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't get your first question. One was you said increased borrowing. The other one was?
Input cost, have we been able to pass it to the end client, and what is the outlook going forward on the input cost?
So
Finally, on the US revenue and US business, if Ved can comment a bit on that.
Yeah. Vignesh, let me take the first question.
Yeah.
So if you see results last year, 24% of impact is coming out from the input cost increase. So for the last year, we have not been able to take the full return back on the increased input costs because the input cost was almost certain, and then the order book was there. So going forward, first quarter we try to mitigate some of the increase in input costs. The market is positive and was positive in the first quarter. So going forward, we see that this input cost increase is getting mitigated from the pricing front.
And what's the outlook of input prices, sir?
So input costs being going up and up day by day. If you see the whole of the global scenario, there is crunch on natural gas. Again, the war is still on, so more of the imported goods come from Russia, and China is again under lockdown till now. So it's over 2 months. Shanghai particularly is under lockdown, where their major chemicals are coming in. So it's still going up.
And how about bagasse? That's stable?
Bagasse, there has been a hit over the previous year on the pricing front. But yes, we do store bagasse for whole of the year in 120 days. So whatever has come up has already been incorporated in that cost.
So basically what we are saying is the margins in Q1 will be better than Q4 because of the passing on of the prices, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Jignesh bhai, do you want to talk about the borrowing? And then I can...
Absolutely. So on the borrowing front, Manishji, if you compare as compared to the previous year, in fact, the borrowing should have gone down because we have repaid our term loans for the entire business, except the table for which we had taken loan in 2018. The increase is coming only from the working capital finance. One thing is the previous year was a COVID. So the year before, that was March 20, was a COVID period. So you didn't have the the impact coming from the stocking of the bagasse. So we have accumulated bagasse which is needed because we are in terms of the raw material procurement, we are in a cyclical business. So for this year, the entire stocking of bagasse, especially in terms of the increased output, the volumes has gone up, and that has impacted our working capital requirement. Otherwise, more or less, in terms of the term loan, of course, it has gone down. And we expect the borrowing to remain in this range at the end of the year for the next year. But of course, the borrowing would change based on the project that comes up as and when we go forward.
Great. So I'm going to, thanks Manish, I'm going to add on the US entity. So there are 3 broad focuses for the Pakka Inc. business. The first and foremost is the next stage of our growth. So we are spending a lot of time in identifying where the next manufacturing site is going to be. There are certain regions of the world we are focusing on. We have started to explore more deeply, and that includes also funding of that arm. So, this is going to be a way bigger funding than what we have experienced so far. So, building of the team, funding of the project, identification of the site. So more or less, so a lot of the focus is going to stay there, which means that there is no revenue going to come in, I would say, even for the next 2 years from that activity. The second activity is distribution of our goods in the Northern American market in particular. and it could be also in other markets, but focused on Northern American market. There we are supply constrained right now. So what we have done in the last 6 months is to do a very deep dive on the market, study it very deeply, identify the areas which we want to get into. My colleague Satish is now working on the whole business in terms of establishing the outsourcing model where we can build our products and then start building a US team. So I think we would sort that model within, I would say, this quarter. Jagdeep is also looking at how he can transport the pulp longer distances, try it more. So that technology also should get frozen within the next quarter. And I think within the next 6 months, and that's Jignesh Bhai's comment on next year. So by in another 6 months, we are looking at least forming some partnerships, and then within a year start distributing, build a team in US and start distributing products here. And the segments have been identified for that. The third part, which we've been doing for the last few months, and you can see some of the changes happening, is the innovation partnerships. So there have been numerous innovation partnerships. You'll be happy to, I can't disclose names right now, but you'll be happy to hear significant global entities are visiting the mill. Even next week, there is a very really interesting visit that is happening. Sagar and I have been talking to numerous large multinationals for evolving their products. We have looked at partnerships for joint collaboration of innovation. So that's the three angles. So the little sort of start of revenue will happen by next year, as Jignesh Bhai said, through distribution of our products. The larger impact will come through raising of money and establishing a new site, which I think hopefully Jagdeep will be free from his expansion in the Ayodhya site by next year, and we'll start the process of building a new factory somewhere in this zone next the year 2023-24 is the target. And the third is innovation that will be ongoing. It will continue, and we'll keep moving the dial, looking for very innovative partnerships and trying to make a bigger difference. So those are the three broad outlooks for Pakka Inc.
Sorry, a follow-up question, Ved. We're talking about fundraising. Is it going to be equity at sub-level or some innovative funding structure in terms of debt?
So again, very initial to sort of comment on it holistically, but fundamentally rooted in the equity and debt structure. So the dilution, so just now we, as YashPakka, we hold 100% of Pakka Inc. So the idea would be to dilute our stake as YashPakka in Pakka Inc. Hopefully not too much. And then parallelly, so say if we are raising $250 million, so then it will be something like 100 million through equity, 150 million through debt. So those are structures that will be worked out. We are looking at SPAC, we are looking at numerous things. This is jugglery that you guys probably understand more than we do. But we know that we want to establish the plant, we know we want to scale, we know there is a way out there, and we'll find that way. So that's fundamentally where we are today.
Thanks. Sure. Thank you so much. But we will continue to retain majority in Pakka Inc., right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I request everyone to limit the questions to 2 max. I'll move on to the next person, Mr. Jeet Gala. If you have a question, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. Sir, so all the goals of Yash as a company and, to achieve the 2025, it all rests upon getting a product right. So I would love to, listen more on the innovation in flexible packaging that you guys been able to crack, and for the effort of the last 10 years have probably got into some shape. And secondly, on the mineral-based food carry bags. So how is your product very different from, say, other companies that they're developing? And are you guys way ahead of your curve? So are you guys like first in the market? Are you guys going to patent your product? So how is it going to look?
Sagar, that's for you.
So, good morning, everyone. Yes, there has been a very substantial revelation regarding the product which we have developed in the flexible packaging structure. We have been doing a lot of trials with a lot of customers basically there are very specific applications which we look at when we are developing some kind of a new packaging, and that's what we are in the current stage. On similar lines, we are also parallelly trying to understand how we can scale this up with some kind of a partnership of people who are in the converter domain. So we are having a very conventional approach, but yes, I would not say that we are the first one to crack it. There are many other industries who are doing it, but yes, in the Indian scenario, to get up something like this with the kind of parameters which we have, we are the first one. So we are trying to bring out the balance between the availability of materials, the performance of the material, and the cost. So that is what is the current exercise going on. In another 6 months, we would be in a position to have this product with a customer with a lot of trials and in the market. So that's what our target is. So another part of your question was, we are having a very a strong process which we follow for developing any products. That is what gives us the push. Yeah. Any other question?
Mineral pellets, Sagar.
Yeah, mineral.
Geet also asked about mineral pellets, so if you want to elaborate.
So yeah, coming back to mineral pellets, what we are using is an industrial waste from our factory, and we are trying to convert it into pellets, which can be blown film into different bags. So we could make a prototype of this using biopolymers. So this is something which very few companies are doing outside India, but we have not seen anyone doing in India using the kind of process we have. So in both the cases, we are in process of applying for a patent, but to be very honest, we are in a world where patent gives an idea for anyone who is smart enough, they can analyze what is there in the patent. So we are taking very strong steps whether we need to patent it only when we are very sure that there are enough loopholes in what we are trying to do, and people cannot elaborate what things we are trying to develop. Then only it makes a sense to apply for a patent. So put it in a simple words, if for a patent, people might figure out what is there. So generally when we apply for a patent, we try to create loops in it so people do not understand what it is.
Okay. Now, one follow-up on this is when we say that, a lot of companies are showing interest in our product. So basically, is it about the quality of the product, or is it about the cost competitiveness of the product? I mean, what is that thing about the product which these companies are really liking about?
So cost, I would not say is one of the major reasons, but yes, what the performance part of it, and we have done a lot of machine trials. So a lot of these products fail at machine trials, so that is what is giving us an edge. So the machinability aspect of these materials are very, very strong. So that is what is giving confidence to all the customers with whom we are partnering.
Okay. And lastly, you said that these products are going, you are going to find a converter to, convert your product into, say, a final product. So how is the entire model going to be? Are you going to supply the rolls of paper and the converters are going to convert it into a final product, or how is it going to be?
So there are two approaches. Yes, we might come with we are going to come up with a very, very strong base paper which can be sent to a converter industry. But we are also looking at how we can do the coating or lamination in-house. So both the possibilities we are trying to explore.
Okay, thank you. I'll come back in the queue.
Yeah.
Thanks, Geet and Sagar. I'll move on to the next question. Named Samsung SM908 has asked the question. If you are there, you can ask.
Yeah, hi. Good morning. Audible?
Yeah, you are.
All right. My first question is, when can we expect to see a substantial turnaround in Chuck? That's my first question. And I'll ask the second question as well. Since with a lot of positive news around regarding the merger done and release of pledge shares, in the future, are we looking at holding any analysts meet with any FIs or DIs to attract investment stock?
Satish, I think you need to take the first one, and then hopefully I can tackle the second one. Satish, not very audible. I don't know what is wrong with your speaker.
Is this okay?
Yeah, much better. Go ahead.
Yeah. I would say thank you very much for the question. With Chuck, I say there are 2-3 different things that we are very actively working on. As Ved kept on repeatedly saying, we are looking at additional capacity acquisition through franchisee manufacturing. And we do expect one to come into our fold in the next quarter. We are also launching our newest line of products in the next quarter, which is delivery containers. So these two are pretty exciting. I do see a massive jump in our performance over the next quarter. Even and with the existing products, again, we are putting in stronger teams across the country now, and we do see significant improvements already. You would see for lack of better words, better phrases, I'll use quantum leap, hopefully in the next 1 or 2 quarters. Does that answer your question?
The second part.
Thank you, sir.
The second part, haven't thought about it yet. So I think I don't know how to put this, but it's not. Our aim is the business. Our aim is not the stock price. So that's of course something that you guys will be. And I really apologize for saying this, but you've asked the question. So what we talk internally is how do we grow, how do we impact, how do we make sure our customer is happy, and we feel strongly that in our success as a business and in our happiness as a customer, for our customers, the shareholders will be rewarded. As far as specific activities go in order to attract FIIs, yes, we will do it, but when we need the money. So secondary market growth is not being looked at unless and until, it is sort of leading to something that we need to do in the business. So I think it's totally our folly, I would say, even that, we probably are not savvy enough for that. But for me personally, I would rather spend a lot of time in building what we are trying to build. And yes, if it needs that sort of, I'll do whatever is needed in order to build the business and, the team here as well. So I speak for all of us here that, we will do whatever is needed. So as per need, we will move in that whole idea of having analysts meet, FIIs. If you guys suggest, you are our guides for that. So if you guys suggest that, then that will be a good thing for overall shareholder confidence. Then I'll request Yash to organize one. I'm in India often enough, so happy to have one even next month. And if that helps, but then we have to organize it well so that the time that we spend and the effort that we make is something that is actually rewarded. But I would look for your guidance, and even separately, if you can just send me an email and guide me on how that will impact, and I'm happy to connect with you and take guidance.
Sure, thank you.
Pranay, lost your voice.
Yeah. Am I audible now? Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
So next question is from Shivang, Mr. Shivang Goyal.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are. Go ahead, sir.
So basically, my question was their companies are competitors in paper business, not exactly competitors, whether it is Setia Industries or JK Paper. In the first quarter itself, sorry to say, fourth quarter, January to March, there has been significant bump up in the prices, and because of that, there has been increase in sales realization by almost 15 to 20%. So why is that the reason that we are saying that in Q1 we will feel the same thing? So is there any lag, or because of any contractual structure, we have not seen a bump up in sales from October to December, and then from January to March there should have been some significant impact?
I'll take that question. I think in case you see the Q3 of last year versus Q4 of last year, so there has been almost 14% of realization growth. So those are the figures. Going forward, the question earlier asked by Manish was different. So So is there going to be a hit on the pricing? Yes, there will be a hit. But as the pricing shot up, the same way NSR do not go up perfectly in case you have a steady market and you have a order full in your kitty. So as that order full gets diluted, you get the incremental impact in the coming quarters. So we said you will see a major jump in realization of the paper in first quarter as well. So though the pricing hit will not be that much. So
and adding to your question, each company is different, Shivang. It's basically we are using. Himanshu, you're unmuted. So every company is different in terms of their raw material, in terms of their products. So two companies you mentioned incidentally have very different raw material base. Setia uses wheat straw. They don't have to store for the entire season. They are totally 1 week storage kind of an idea, and they have an abundance there. JK is mostly wood based producer. They both are mostly in the writing printing. Of course, JK has gone into board heavily as well. They're very different markets. We are not at all looking at ourselves. We don't even look at ourselves as paper makers anymore, as much as Jagdeep and I love being paper makers. But we look at ourselves as sustainability packaging. So that's the broad idea. And every product that we make has to move more and more towards acting as a solution. So that's a very different domain and a catch. And that's why we invest a lot towards creating different products as the final usage. But that's it. Specifically to your question, different products, different raw materials, different price movements. We do have a lot of contractual contracts. We have long-term buyers. So the good thing is we are not hurt when the prices go down either. So both ways we remain a little more stable.
Yeah, got it. Just one more thing. So we are approaching July and there was this thing about plastic ban and everything. So what kind of thing we feel that this time it would be stringent steps would be taken, and what is your basically study around that? What might happen in the next 2-3 months?
There are two sides to this. Again, as humans, I feel that it's absolutely imperative that it must happen. Whether the country has the will to be able to do it, the execution strength to be able to do it, it waits to be seen. We at least have a prime minister who means business. So hopefully we can see that. As a business, we feel very different. As a business, we feel we need to create better biomaterials. Whether there is a ban or no ban, we need to give the customers a better material. Plastics were also created by humans, extremely well-engineered products. And if humans can create that, we can create even better products, is what we feel, at better prices. So each thing Sagar works on, we don't even look at, we look at the costing as parallel. We don't, each time we discuss in the innovation team, it has to be something, the cost is taken as the benchmark, as the material stands today, and how do we replace it with a biomaterial. So as a business, we don't take that into consideration that if there is a ban, then we'll get a flip. Great if we do. But as humans, as people who are invested heavily in this domain, we will rather focus on creating better and better biomaterials. And great if there is a ban, that definitely works in our favor. It helps us as human beings, all of us, because ultimately we have to leave this earth better for our future generations to come. So as humans, I definitely feel that. As a business, I'm personally not that affected by ban or no ban. We would continue to develop our products regardless.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Shivang. Thank you, Ved. Next question is from Mr. Ayush Agarwal. Ayush, if you can go ahead and ask the question.
Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible. Yeah. So I think my question lies on the capex. Your presentation mentions that we are doing 200 crore this year, 500 crore next year probably, so roughly 500-700 crore of investment. I'm not going to talk about how the funding is going to come, but roughly on how are we going to spend this amount? Like what amount are we spending on Ayodhya this year, and what amount are we thinking to spend on the new unit wherever we will put that up?
I think Jagdeep can give you more details, but I'll give you a broad outline. So the way we see it now, and this is very, very recent because we've been going back and forth doing numerous calculations on NPVs and IRRs and finding the best solution. So Sagar coming in and saying that we need to produce this, we are ready. Jagdeep coming in and saying that this can be done technologically, this cannot be done. Jignesh coming in and saying that, okay, this works as better NPV, this works as better IRR. This is what we can raise, this is what we cannot raise. So, there have been a lot of deliberations going back and forth. As of, you're literally like taking the bun out of the oven. It's hot as it can be. And, like as in discussions in the last week, I would say, what turns out is that we will improve our paper machine 3 and make it into a much better packaging base. It's called MG release paper. We will set up another paper machine on the Ayodhya site. It will be producing basically again another beautiful what in regular parlance we call butter paper or grease-proof paper. So that's sort of a grade, but it will ultimately be used for usage of flexible packaging again. That's the broad idea there. We will expand our pulping significantly to support Satish and the growth in the molded side through franchising. So that's the third aspect. Sagar is still to give us a green light on the mineral pellets commercial manufacture. So we are internally as a core team, we are definitely hopeful. Sagar says within the next 6 months, he will show us the light. So if he does within the 6 months, then we will set up a pelletization facility for our mineral bags. If he doesn't, then that might be a little delayed. But that's the broad scope of the Ayodhya expansion. It will be upwards of 200 crores for sure. It's ended up, I would say, about double of that will be where the figure will end up. The other one I spoke about earlier is a global expansion in a similar sort of structure in terms of using bagasse, producing flexible packaging, producing carry bag products, and producing molded products. Those are the 3 domains we want to stay with at least for the next 5 years. That will, I think that will take upwards of 200 million, and we spoke about that capital raise, and that's going to be this year's work for me.
All right, that was helpful. So, given that you're going to do 200 crore in Ayodhya, and funding for that has to come from YashPakka, right? So how are we going about that? Because
it's a regular, Ayush, it's a regular mix of debt and equity. We'll put in some internal accruals. We might get some strategic investor. We'll see about that. But I think we are well capable of, because the project itself takes almost a year and a half. So it gives us 2 calendar years. So we are able to fund most of it equity side, 1/4 of it internally, and the rest comes from debt. Bankers are totally happy to lend us that money.
And but we are willing to take that debt equity beyond 1.52x is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, we have to grow, dude. Ultimately, we have a bigger thing to do. So that sort of thing doesn't even cross our mind. We have limited lifespans. We are there for a purpose. We are going to do whatever it takes to make that purpose happen.
All right. On my second question was on the franchise manufacturing that we are going for. So talk to us about how the arrangement works. What kind of manufacturers are these people? What kind of machinery do they already have? What kind of support will YashPakka give to them? And what is the entire setup like?
I hope so many questions you are interested in manufacturing. Then Satish can, Satish, but I'll
yeah. So with franchisee manufacturing, there are multiple. I know you posted way too many questions. I don't know which ones to take first. So the idea here is to work with people who are already in some sort of a manufacturing, especially if they are into pulp and paper. They're used to pulp and paper. Actually, is an advantage. So they understand the pulp handling, they understand the process equipment. So that's something that we are looking at. Honestly speaking, we are working through a very, very detailed framework on who our manufacturing partners are going to be and what the qualifications are. And that itself is probably a 20-30 line check, if you will. The second thing is, what is YashPakka going to provide to the manufacturers? There's obviously, the 40 years of pulp handling and paper making experience, which also led us into making molded products. And we have fantastic engineering that we have learned and also generated over the last 4 years in tableware manufacturing. That is something that we are willing to provide. It's not necessarily willing to. So here's what we are offering. So we would offer engineering and product management and process engineering, product engineering to a large extent, and also operational hand-holding until startup, right? So the manufacturing partner would come in, set up the manufacturing site, they would operate it for us, and we also buy the capacity. So the idea here is not only just increasing our capacity, on another hand, we are also increasing our demand multi-fold, right? So we would end up buying all their capacity. So this way we eliminate the risk of the new manufacturing partner who's coming in. And in terms of payback, we are looking at in terms of by covering up their costs and by also buying their capacity out, we are looking to ensure a 5 to 6 years of payback on their investment.
Understood. And that was really helpful. And that's it from me, sir. Thank you for your answer.
Thanks, Ayush. I'll move on to the next question with the name tag of iPhone bracket 2.
Hello. Can you hear me? I'm Vinu here.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations to the team for a wonderful performance. I have been keenly following where I have been reading all his interviews. So somewhere I read that talks are going on with Zomato. So I just want to get the update whether it's progressing or any deal we can expect any deal shortly. Something like that.
That's a very sore topic right now. You are hitting us on the gut. I think Satish is laughing there because we are supposed to deliver a lot of products to Zomato, but it's taken too long from our side. So totally failing on our side. But that's the joy of business. So Zomato has been waiting on us because they want to announce in a big way to move more and more towards sustainable packaging on food delivery. And as Satish said, that's a big focus for us. We want to change that domain significantly. We feel there is too much of non-renewables being used in that space that needs more intervention. I know that Sagar and his team has worked hard in the last year to develop an amazing product. We love the product that they've created. It locks well, it doesn't leak, it sort of maintains the integrity, it's still absolutely natural, disintegrates within 3 months, all of that. But we haven't been able to manufacture it. So Satish has lost a lot more hair and turned more gray in the last 2 months thanks to that. But I think in the next quarter, he says that he's going to start delivering and hopefully Zomato will gain more confidence in us. But we've faltered. We failed in delivering. But I think that's a big one for us. And that's also a domain we're looking at significantly in our international launches, the dark kitchens and the delivery, because that's a beautiful product that the team has created. We are truly, truly proud of what has been created. It's just that we haven't been able to yet be able to manufacture. We've gone through 3 experiences of outsourced manufacturing and hopefully landed on the last 6, the one which will hopefully hold and start supplying. So I think we are very close, but I think as Satish said, this quarter is his commitment to start manufacturing. Satish, if you want to add anything.
Very well said. We are definitely excited with the products that are coming now. As Ved said, we have ways to deliver in the past. So we are watching, we are treading this very carefully, especially on a large partnership or partnerships with the likes of Zomato. So we are also we're also listing ourselves in Zomato Hyperpure. That is another partnership that is happening as we speak. But again, in both the cases, we are treading this very carefully because you get one shot, and we want to make sure that we make them fully satisfied with our service.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I think it would be a game changer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from Mr. Makwana, Girish Makwana. Mr. Makwana, you are on mute. You can unmute yourself.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, my question is regarding lead products. Are we ready with that products that are food takeaway products?
Girish, this is Satish again. So in terms of design, in terms of performance, in terms of testing, yes, we are fully ready. This has been tested with several key customers of ours over the last year. And as Ved said, this is a fantastic product. People are extremely happy. This product is high in demand. However, we hit a glitch in manufacturing at a couple of our attempts in the past, but we are going back at it again as we speak. And we do see significant improvements in manufacturability. I do expect these issues to be resolved this quarter, so we can launch the lid products in a big way in the next quarter.
Okay, sir. My second question is regarding does Rethinking Material Conference has helped us as Ved sir was talking about?
Wow, I'm impressed. You're really tracking us. Yes, Rethinking has been amazing. It's so for those who don't know, we were one of the principal sponsors and working with the conference in London, which brings in all the people in the world, not all, but a big amount of people in the world who are looking at materials and developing them and using them. So yeah, so lots of 3 objectives were there for Rethinking. I think we did decently in all 3. The first was to launch our solutionizing platform, which is gcahub.com. I encourage all of you to check that, check gcaimpact.com. The idea there is to be able to provide solutions to others so that more and more people enter the compostable packaging space, and also to be able to collaborate more as an organization as YashPakka. The other was to be able to find more partnerships, what Sagar was doing in terms of finding ways to, especially focusing on flexible packaging. And I think, again, Sagar and his team are doing absolutely brilliant cutting edge work in terms of, I'm going to say things which may not make sense to investors, but they are absolutely joy for Sagar and the team. And they are things like microbial multiplication and bacterial fermentation and things like that, the future of packaging. So a lot of possible tie-ups, on flexible packaging, barrier creation. I think Sagar I think he may not have even answered all his emails by now because there are so many to tackle and to decide who to work with. So that was brilliant. And the third was, of course, exploring options for funding and tie-ups where to set up the plant. And yes, a lot of potential has come out on funding side as well as on where to set up the plant. We were also meeting some potential customers for larger scale new products. And that was also brilliant. So I think great exposure for us, a lot of learning for us. And thank you for tracking that. That's really nice of you to do that.
Sir, one more thing I would like to just highlight you. Hello.
Please go ahead. We can hear you.
Sir, in Gujarat, the Patan University scientists have developed bioplastic from potato starch. So this type of, if we get some news, can we share with you for your information and helpful to YashPakka?
Absolutely. All information counts. There are a lot of very, very amazing people creating really, really interesting products. We love to work with people. We love to collaborate. I'm sure Sagar would be super happy to hear more. You never know what is the next, what can be the next game changer. So we are very happy to hear. Yeah, please do pass it on. Please connect with Sagar on LinkedIn and please pass on any information you think he will be happy with.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Please
Thank you.
keep this audio so we can listen 2 times.
It would be available
I
on
think MK does a good job of recording. I think it will be available.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We will be taking last 2 questions now. The first one is from Sumesh, Mr. Sumesh Gularia. You can go ahead and ask the question.
Hi, sir. My first question is regarding the target for financial year 23. So it's already like end of first quarter, and we have set a target of 500 CR, and we clocked around 300 CR for last year. So how are we going to achieve that kind of jump in revenue?
Mostly the shift in focus will come from the whole outsourcing model, which Satish and the team have been working at. So the turnover from the molded division has been lagging, as we all know, for a while, but Satish is very point that he can take it from, say, 30 odd crores to 100 crores. So that's a big shift. Jagdeep, of course, is further improving the capacity utilization, and also the NSRs are going up. So the remaining 400 or nearby would come from that. So most basically split into this, because this is a year when we are spending a lot of time investing for the year after that. So none of that turnover is going to come in 2022-23. It will start reflecting in at least half of 23-24, all the investments that we are making now. So I think this is mostly coming from efforts within the team to rechannelize the business and look at possibilities. But yeah, all internal, all to do with productivity enhancement and utilization of capacity.
So is it on the conservative side or very optimistic side, that because 500 CR, it's almost like doubling the revenue, and we have just like 10 months. So will it be possible, to achieve that number, or will it be somewhere around 400, 450 kind of range?
All I can say is we will give it our best shot. This is something we've taken as a team. We are finding ways to get it done. There is certain plans in place, but as the Gita says, it's the labor that is in our hand, but the fruit is not. So we will try and focus and work towards that. But and hopefully we'll work towards achieving it. But if we don't, and if we achieve 400 or 450, we are okay with that as well. But we will try for 500.
Okay, sir. So my next question is regarding the unpledging of shares. So
in interest of time, we'd like to cover the last question from Mr. Praveen. And sorry to interrupt there. So Mr. Praveen has asked a question in chat. What is the reason for very steep rise in other expenses in Q4? How much of this is one-time occurrence? This is his first question. And the second question is, as immediate milestone this year, 22.
Pranay, you may have to repeat the first one as well. I think it's
okay,
to do with
I'll go one by one.
Yeah, I think that's better.
Yeah. So the first question is, what is the reason for very steep rise in the other expenses in Q4? How much of this will be one-time occurrence?
I'll take that question. So this rise in the expense of the other expenses mainly coming from the write-off of the fixed asset. That was purely a one-time expense. Is around 2 crore of amount which when we did the fixed asset impairment of over the years, because we are very old assets. When we did those activities which was going on since last 6 months, it's a one-time impact which has been taken. So that's the main reason why the expenses has gone up. And also, if you compare the expenses as compared to previous year, the expenses would definitely look slightly higher, because that was a COVID period when the travels were not happening, all the administrative expenses were on the lower side. So that was another reason. But one-time expenses is around 2 crore, which comes from the write-off of the fixed asset.
Thanks, Jignesh. I'll repeat the second question. As immediate milestone this year, which is 22-23, we are targeting 500 crore top line with PBT of 100 crore. How are we scaling our capacity and products for achieving this year's milestone? I think this question has been covered in.
We've already answered that.
Yeah. All right. So I think we can close this call if you are okay with it.
Yeah, the only thing is there was one more question in the chat. I think I would rather let all questions be answered.
All right.
So I think you can. So I think Jignesh bhai, you may have to take this one. There's a caveat. SBI has given those 3-4 conditions. One of them is rest of the banks of the consortiums agree. So when can we expect the whole process to be completed? I don't know. You can read it on the chat.
Yeah. So I got the question. So of course, when SBI has given the release, they would definitely have some conditions. The condition was mainly that the other banks should agree. In fact, the other banks were waiting for SBI to release. So we already have an approval from PNB, which is already done. We also got the approval from UCO day before yesterday, and Union is already on the card. So all the only pending thing is now going to the consortium security trustee, which is PNB, get all the letters and do the procedural formality. So usually the procedural formality should take 2 weeks of time. So we should, considering this, we should try and get this thing by 15th of June or so. The only thing that is pending is now the procedural, nothing technical remains in releasing the pledge.
So again, I would like to take the opportunity to thank you all, as you are seeing that we are slowly gaining momentum, and you can see that there's an amazing team that is behind this whole effort. I find that me personally and our company is truly blessed with the kind of leadership we have and the kind of team we have. We are, as stated during the call, we are here. All of us here are here to make a difference to the way we see packaging in the future, and we will definitely be putting our best efforts in that direction. I really, really thank you, as always, for believing in us, for trusting us with your resources and investing in us. We will definitely leave no stone unturned from our side. And we look forward to your guidance each time. I think these calls have been a real blessing for us. We learn a lot of how you are thinking, how much you are tracking us, how much you're looking at us. So thank you all for that, and a very good night from my side and day from the others. If somebody else wants to say anything, please go ahead. Pranay, after that, it's all yours.
I would like to add one thing to what Ved sir is saying. Because I have been getting a lot of interim questions and calls from a lot of you guys who are there on the call with us. And I really feel very, very, thankful, and I would like to thank you, all of you, to keep us motivated to take the company to the next level. There was in between one question from one of the investors that he would like to visit the factory. So we would try to do kind of an activity where we would invite the investors also to come and visit our plant. We'll be happy to do that. Some point of time we'll host an event and where we'll invite whoever is interested to come and see your plant. So we'll be happy to do that.
Thank you all. Very good night to you. Thank you, MK and the team there for hosting it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.